Hello ladies and gentlemen, Sigval the Grim here and welcome to yet another build guide. Today we're going to take a look at Black Adam. This character was not requested by you guys, but I have just unlocked it in the arena on my secondary account, and he's a lot of fun and he's a great character for a beginner to play, and I really wanted to make a build guide on him because if used correctly he can perform amazingly for you in both arena and raids. The build that I'm going to do for him will be only one build because I think there's only one optimal build, but you can have a variation in it depending on how much defense you want to have on him, and I will get into that after I'm done with the build. Also, at the end of the video I will talk about, after the build of course, I'll talk about team comps and artifacts that you should use Black Adam with, so stay tuned for that. Also, I wanted to say that if you like this video, please let me know down in the comments and subscribe, as it takes a great effort to make this video and I would really appreciate your support. So without further ado, let's get into the builds. Before we get into the actual build, I wanted to mention that all the calculations in this video are going to be made for Black Adam with level 60 gears, epic talents and high rolls on gears. Why a level 60 gears? Because that's the point where I consider a character's gears maxed out, and going all the way to level 70 it's a waste in my opinion. Other than that, I want to say that you don't have to go straight for this build, and you can see this build as guideline, as something to aspire to go to perfection in the future, and even though it takes you a lot of time, you will get there gradually. You don't need to do it all at once. The only build that I have found to be working on him is the critical attack damage build. This build is going to focus on getting maximum critical attack chance and maximum critical attack damage, and the rest of the stats are going to be put towards attack and a little bit of defense. I think this is the only viable build because there's no other interactions in his kit with fast attack or any other stats. And of course you could go on a full attack build with him, but that is easy to be done by yourself first of all, and secondly I don't find it optimal. So without further ado, let's get into the actual build. For this build you will need to have 3 critical attack chance talents, 3 critical attack damage talents, 1 critical attack chance gear roll, 2 critical attack damage gear rolls, 2 defense gear rolls, and 10 attack gear rolls. And at level 60 gears with all epic talents and with all high rolls, you should end up with the stats looking like this: 73 critical attack chance, 292 critical attack damage, 56% defense, and a total of 5656 attack, and your health will be 23,234. Well, where you get some freedom with this build is adjusting the defensive stats on it. As I have said, you are going to have 2 defense gear rolls, and it's up to you what you do with them, in the sense that if your playstyle with this character is with tagging in, doing a special and tagging out while using all blades, even though I don't really recommend it, you can get rid of all the defense. If your playstyle is to stay with this character in combat and perform many abilities while you are in combat, then you will need the 56% defense. If your gameplay is sloppy and you're not very confident in yourself, you can add 1 more defense in the place of 1 attack gear roll. And basically that is all. What I offered you was a balanced amount of defense that an average player should be comfortable to play Black Adam with. And this is the amount of defense I will play Black Adam with myself, because I like to keep him in combat, and even though I block all the abilities that are thrown at me, he still needs some defense because he will stay a lot in combat. While using this build, you should have absolutely no problem facing most teams in Arena, and he's a great character in Arena because he has a stun on tagging, and he has a power drain, and he has a weaken on his second special. In terms of raids, depending on your team that I'm going to talk about later, and if you have the optimal team for him, he can easily perform one-shots in raid 6. The phases I recommend you use him in are phase 1 and phase 4. Because in these two situations, on one hand you can stay in combat as long as you want and you're not conditioned by hazards and automatic tagging ins and tagging outs, and on the other hand you should fight Brainiac, because if you don't fight Brainiac, the power drain that you apply will go to waste. Of course you could fight the sub-bosses, but this is simply not the optimal place to use Black Adam, though it can be done at decent performance. With this build you should never really fight Captain Cold and phase 2, since all your critical attack damage and chance will be wasted. You really shouldn't fight Horrific Scarecrow with Black Adam. He can perform decently, but there are better characters that can do that for you. And again, the most optimal are phase 1 and phase 4. And also, if you have the tag-in playstyle while using Gold Blaze with him, though I will get further into the artifacts at the end of the video, you can use him in phase 3 as well. When it comes to team comps, one of the two slots remaining in your team, if you're using Black Adam, is already occupied by a power reduction character. And that power reduction character can be either Dr. Fate or Power Girl. Dr. Fate is a little bit better at doing this because he also decreases by 10% the enemy's defense on top of the power reduction, but if you only have a Power Girl to be used with him, there's absolutely no problem there. But there must be one of them in the same team with him, because he's a power reduction reliant character, and if you don't have a power reduction character in your team, he will heavily downperform and not do great at all for you. In terms of the other slot in your team, you can fill that up with Shazam, and that would be actually the most optimal choice for you, since Shazam on one hand is going to boost the overall damage of your Black Adam, since he's also arcane and he benefits from Shazam's passive. On the other hand, he will receive the critical damage reduction while being hit with a critical hit that is offered by Shazam, and that will feed into his tankiness. If you don't have Shazam, or you have used him with another team, you can replace him with the Silver Banshee in terms of raids, because you can use Silver Banshee's special 2 on the enemy raid boss, and that will grant him a debuff that is going to increase the damage he receives from arcane characters. And that includes our boy Black Adam. And at the same time, be careful not to get your Silver Banshee killed, because if she gets killed, the effect on her special 2 that is applied to the boss gets cancelled. Also, if you don't have Silver Banshee either, other than the power reduction character, you can choose one of the generic supports. Silver Bane if you are missing some critical chance, Speed Force the Flash for some additional fast attack chance, though it will not be very useful in this case and I don't recommend it. Horrific Scarecrow for some increased tankiness in the arena. Also, Horrific Scarecrow has a passive that makes the enemy's abilities cost more, and combined with Black Adam's special 2, it will yield amazing results. They will almost need the whole power bar in order to cast their special 1. And finally, if you're going for the All Blades build and you don't have Shazam available, you can replace Shazam with a combo builder and just build up your combo and then tag Black Adam in and do a special tree. Though, as I said, I don't find this playstyle very optimal. When it comes to artifacts, Black Adam is one of the very few characters in the entire game on which I recommend you'd rather use Claws of Horus other than the All Blades. This applies for both raids and arena. As I said, the All Blades build can be used at decent efficiency in the raids, but in the arena I think the Claws of Horus are much better. And why do I recommend the Claws of Horus over the All Blades regarding this character? Because his entire playstyle, as you have seen through the entirety of this video, is reliant on staying in combat and casting a lot of abilities. So yes, of course he can benefit from the All Blades, but I think the most optimal option for him will be the Claws of Horus. And if you lack both of them, you can still use the Arcane Amulet, though that is rather an unoptimal option, but still an option. Well, this was pretty much everything I had to cover in this video. I want to thank you guys for watching, and make sure that if you found this helpful, you subscribe to the channel, as I post one build at least every week, and I post a lot of other content, especially useful for the beginners. You should also go check out my other build guides. I also have a Shazam build guide that might be helpful regarding this guy's team comp. And with all that being said, I'll see you in the next one.